Well, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Amazing Seller Podcast. This is episode number 327, and today we're going to talk about how to raise money and launch products using crowdfunding. And we're also going to talk about some mistakes to avoid. And I have a special guest that's going to be helping us with this, who's actually been through this time and time again. And she's seen a lot of ups and downs and things that are done right and things that are done wrong. And I just kind of wanted to dig into this topic because I'm pretty interested in it. I think it's a great business model for some people. And I say business model, it's a way to launch your business or a new product. And that expert, by the way, is Khierstyn Ross. And she really has been doing this for quite a while. And she's going to tell exactly how she got started in it. But she's also going to talk about a campaign that they ran when she first got started, which was a flop. And she's going to talk about why. And then after they just tweaked a few things, it was a huge success. And I think that's really important to understand because sometimes just a few tweaks can make a huge difference. I mean, I'm talking about just your listing alone. You could change some images and boom, all of a sudden you get a listing that's converting now because you changed something, but you thought you knew what people liked, but you have to test things throughout this process. And the same thing goes for crowdfunding, I guess. And that's what she's going to share with us. So let me just say this though, before we jump into this topic, this is a little bit more advanced. Obviously, if you're just starting, probably isn't going to be something that you're going to need right now. You still probably want to listen because you know what? It's good to understand what is possible if this seems to be something that might work for you down the line, or maybe a partnership, or maybe another brand that you work with. Because I think as we evolve with this business, we're going to start to see other opportunities. And this can be something that you can entertain if the time is right. But if you are just starting, or if you're brand new to the podcast, first off, I just want to say, welcome, and little handshake here through this audio recording. I just want to say welcome, and I would invite anyone that's brand new to one of our live workshops that we do. We do these weekly, generally weekly, and we talk about how to launch a product from start to finish. And then we also talk about product research and finding that market or finding that product. So if you want to register for an upcoming live workshop, head over to theamazingseller.com/workshop. And you'll see the upcoming workshop there. You can register and then we'll notify you when we end up doing it. And then you can hang out with us. You can ask questions. It's totally live. And would love to see you there. So that's for anyone that's brand new, that's just getting started. That is probably where you want to start. Now, I also want to say show notes. This is going to be one you're probably going to want to download. There's a lot of great information. And like I said, she's going to take us through, a couple of case studies in a sense, as far as like what happened when they started and what they learned through that process. So if you are interested at all in crowdfunding, this is definitely one you're going to want to download and use the transcripts to actually print out maybe even and use as a little guide. So theamazingseller.com/327 is where you'll find all of those show notes. We've got links, we've got transcripts, all that stuff is over there. All right, guys, I'm going to stop talking now so you guys can enjoy this episode that I did with my good friend, Khierstyn Ross. Enjoy. Hey, Khierstyn, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. How are you doing this morning?
Scott, I'm awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited for this.
Is it morning where you are?
Yes. I think we're in the same time zone.
Oh, we are? Okay. I didn't know
Possibly.
that.
I'm in Toronto, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we are then. I wasn't sure. I thought the last time you and I chatted, I thought we had a time difference, but I don't know.
We did.
We did? Okay, so you were somewhere else at that time. Okay.
I was in London at the time, so we were like 5 hours difference, yeah.
Okay. I knew there was something, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just crazy. But all right,
Nope.
cool. So
Nope,
I'm
you're
not going
not.
crazy. All right, awesome. All right. So what I just want to, I guess, dive into what we're going to talk about today, which is really about, a lot of people get started or they're limited on cash or they have a product idea or they want to expand their product line, but sometimes capital is the issue. And I know you have some experience with, crowdfunding and just ways to maybe even go after, finding that money. And I just really did want to dig into that topic with you today. But before we do that, maybe you could give people a little bit of a background as far as, who you are and kind of like how you got into this whole space.
Yeah, it's funny because everything that I've gone through in business, I've pretty much fallen into it.
Haven't we all?
Biochemistry graduate.
Right.
I know, yeah, it's weird, but like when I was 17, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor. And then 2 years into university, I got recruited by an entrepreneur organization to teach you how to run a business over a summer.
Okay.
And I was like, sure, why not? And I ended up working with them for 7 years and falling in love with entrepreneurship. That's how I got my start in consulting, because my position with that company developed into me onboarding a lot of new franchises and helping people go from 0 to 6-figure revenue in 6 months.
Wow.
And I had a chance to build a consulting business when I left because I wanted to do my own thing. After traveling the world for a bit, being inspired by Tim Ferriss, I was like, I want to be a freelance consultant. But I spent like 2 years trying to figure out how to build that business. And I wasn't really specific on what I was doing. I was a sales consultant, which is an umbrella term for I will do anything to help you get more customers, basically. So after I moved back to Toronto, because I was living in the UK at the time, I connected with a local founder who ended up being the first crowdfunding project that I did. He's like, I have this really cool vest that helps you lose weight. The thing is that I need funding to manufacture units and get this to market. And you seem to know something about digital marketing. So do you want to partner up on this thing?
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I don't really know what Kickstarter is or how to do it, but it can't be that hard. So famous last words. So we ended up launching campaign 1 on Indiegogo, which was an absolute disaster. We raised $16,000 out of a $50,000 goal, which basically means we couldn't do anything with the product.
Okay.
So at this point, we're like, crap, we have a failed campaign and we need funding. And angel investors are now not going to give us money because they see that the product is a flop. So what are we going to do? We decided that our best bet was to relaunch that campaign. And we analyzed everything we did wrong, and we fixed and changed nearly everything about the campaign. And we relaunched that same product 3 months later and ended up doing over $500,000 on Indiegogo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you think it was the marketing on that product, or was there other things?
Oh man.
Was it the marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It was definitely the marketing, because what I learned, and like you teach this with Amazon launches and stuff, is that you want to have good momentum when you launch. And especially with Kickstarter, if you talk to any successful creator, they will say that your first 48 hours after launch will make or break your campaign.
Wow. Okay.
So what we didn't do is in the first campaign, we ignored that fact and we're like, well, we're just going to get people to buy. And we had raised maybe $1,000 on that first day. And so what we had to do for the second one was build up a sizable audience, get our crowdfunding page in front of a ton of people, and get those early pledges in early, like on day one. And then that is what helped us get those big numbers. On top of like a bunch of other stuff that I'm sure we're going to like talk about in this, but it was the audience, and it was also the positioning of the product was like so off.
Now, okay, so and you bring up a really, really good point because, and again, I want to kind of try to understand the whole Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Like, I want to understand that a little bit better because, I mean, I got to be honest, I don't understand all of the workings and kind of like, people pledge, but then like, do they automatically get the product shipped, and like when do they get it shipped, and like all those things. So I definitely want to dig into that process. But from what I'm hearing you say is it's, like you said, it's very similar to any launch for that matter. It's like you build up the awareness. It's not available yet. You might even, send out some videos showing about what it's going to be like to use this particular thing or this item, and then talk a little bit about maybe your mission, and then talk about so to get these people already involved in the process. And then when you go live, it's like, all right, guys, tomorrow's the day. We're going to go ahead and start accepting pledges. And then boom, it all of a sudden starts to fuel that. And then all of a sudden from there, it starts to build its own momentum inside of that platform. And then it starts getting you visibility, kind of like a podcast. If you want to be a podcaster, you want to get downloads like really fast, like when you launch. So how do you do that? You build up an audience and let them know that you're having a podcast. If you're launching an Amazon product, you want to build up an audience and let people know I've got a new product coming out. And then you maybe give them a 25% off discount. And then people rush there, and then it spikes the algorithm, and then it takes off. Is that kind of the same idea? Am I thinking about that part right?
Yep, you couldn't have said it better.
Cool. All right. So I get that part. So, and that makes sense. So what you're saying is that first campaign that you guys were running was just kind of like, all right, cool. We're going to put it up on Kickstarter and it's going to work. And then it's like crickets. You might have a few people and, you did maybe
exactly.
Yeah. And then you're like, okay, wait, we got to do this differently. We got to like let people know about this thing and then really give it a rush of sales and then let it kind of pick up its own momentum. So you learned from that, right? I mean, you totally learned from it. You turned it around and it's crazy that it was the same thing. It was just a different marketing strategy and probably, like you said, a little bit of a different positioning of the product. What do you mean by positioning? Was it like for a different audience were you positioning it to, or was it messaging? Like, give me a little bit more on that.
So it's by positioning, I mean product perception to somebody. So when we launched that first campaign, we made the classic mistake of not showing the campaign or the video to any potential customer or someone that fit the description of what a customer could be. So we had what we thought was a winning angle of why and how we showed like the top reasons why someone should buy it and what they would use it for and all this stuff. And like, we just got it all wrong. What we were hoping for it to do is we didn't want this product to look like just a gimmick, because what it can be perceived as is a vest that you wear and all you do is sit on the couch all day and you lose a bunch of weight. We did not want that because those are TV gimmicks. We wanted something to present it as legitimate, as like a lifestyle solution, something that you do with like a full workout program and blah, blah, blah. And like where we wanted to present it as a lifestyle solution, what it came off as was a gimmick.
Oh, okay.
So it alienated a lot of the fitness community we were going after. It alienated and it was off. And that was stuff that we discovered. And we actually went back and spoke to a lot of potential customers to see how we should reframe everything so that it would be something that would speak to them when they read our sales page, as opposed to the opposite.
Okay. That makes sense too. So you wanted it less gimmicky and more of like case study almost based, or beta tester kind of, or how it's being used and people actually showing that they've used it, even if it's a prototype, like they're showing like it being used. Now let me ask you this: what was the pledge? What was the pledge to actually get into this campaign, or was it whatever you wanted to put in?
Yeah. So the cool thing about campaigns is you can set different reward levels based on, if you say if someone pledges $150, they get this. If they pledge $300, they get this. So what you're doing is you can stack different packages based on how much people are wanting to pay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's not just one.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, my good friend, probably John Lee Dumas, who's actually right now in the middle of a Kickstarter for his business, his mastery journal, and he does that very, very well, and he did it from his first campaign, where it's basically like, okay, if you want to just pledge whatever, $20, and get the product when it's released, you can. If you want to buy a 2-pack, if you want to do another one and then get a one-on-one coaching call, or maybe I'll speak at your event, or like there's these different incentives to buy more. And then so when someone pledges more, does that help more that the money's being raised or per units being sold? I'm just trying to understand that. Is it more of the dollar amount that's being raised that gives the algorithm or the push that the campaign needs? Or is it more or less units sold? Like I'm trying to understand that. Yeah.
So it's actually both, but if you want to know which one will weigh more heavily, it's the dollar amount raised, because how the popularity algorithm would work is based on percentage of your goal raised. Okay. So if you have a $50,000 goal, the more you raise against that, the higher you're going to rank on site. But then the algorithm will look for and map out general activity on your page.
Okay.
But
if I put a pledge out there that we want, or if I want a goal of $25,000, if we don't hit that, what happens? Do you just not launch the product and then everyone doesn't get charged, or do they get charged up front, or do they only get charged when the product is actually met and received? And I'm trying to understand that part too.
Great question. So it depends which platform you use. Kickstarter is an all or nothing funding model. So if you don't hit your goal, they don't charge your backers and you don't get any money.
Okay.
Indiegogo has a different one. They have two kinds of funding. There's fixed funding, which is the same as Kickstarter's all or nothing.
Okay.
Or they have flexible funding. So flexible funding means that you can keep all the money raised even if you don't hit your goal. But little disclaimer with that, be sure to only select flexible funding if you can still deliver something with money raised, or else you're going to have to process a lot of refunds if you can't do anything with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, so if I put a pledge up there at 25,000, my goal is to get to that 25,000, and if we do, then that means that we're going to go ahead and start to produce this product.
You got it.
Okay, and if we do it at that point now, when is it usually? I mean, maybe there's different times, but when do the people actually get the product shipped to them? Do you put in there like different times, like, once this is met and we have and it's it's over, the campaign's run its course and it's over with, 6 weeks from then we'll be shipping everyone their unit or their units. Is that how it works?
Yeah. Yes, it does completely vary on the creator's timeline. We'll have two kinds of people that I see, or two kinds of campaigns that I see on site now. Mm-hmm. Ones that will take the money and then go to manufacturing, which can have a 6 to 9 month lead period before you get product shipped.
Oh, okay.
Or you have the ones who are, say, Amazon sellers, or they already have an infrastructure for manufacturing. So you might get companies like the Purple that they did a Kickstarter for their mattress a couple of years ago, and now they raised like $2.5 million for a pillow. They had the infrastructure, and so they can deliver a lot quicker.
I got you.
Yeah, but what you'll see when you go to back any project is you'll see expected delivery date is whatever that date is, projection wise.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to gather that. So it can be whatever you put on it, and it depends on how quickly you're going to be able to make it. But you want to be obviously upfront with the people that are pledging, because, if you tell them it's 6 weeks and then, 2 months later, they still haven't gotten anything, you're going to probably start getting some emails, or, Kickstarter is like, how would that work? Does Kickstarter get the emails, or they go directly to you now?
Man, so I'm sure Kickstarter gets a ton of angry emails, but it's generally, because what happens is they're not liable for any product that doesn't get fulfilled. Okay. It's very clear on their website. Okay. They're just there to match products with customers. Platform. And so, yeah, exactly. So with crowdfunding campaigns, it is the problem with the industry is that nearly every campaign delivers late. Mm-hmm. So what you'll find is that a lot of customers will go back to the company to ask what's going on with it. But you'll see either in the public comments on their Kickstarter campaign long after the campaign's due, or it's their support inbox or whatnot.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. So, okay. And the other thing that I've heard, and I mean, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but just having your product or your campaign running in Kickstarter or Indiegogo, whatever, usually it ranks really well in Google. I've heard that as well. Is that also another pretty cool thing that happens when you do this?
Yeah, it's fantastic, because I'll find that for a lot of the other campaigns I've run, the Kickstarter or Indiegogo page will rank higher than their own website. So that's pretty cool.
And what happens after it's ended? Does that still stay live for a certain period of time? I'm just imagining someone coming in 6 months and then seeing that page and it's ended, and then is there a link that would go to your website, or does it get taken down? I'm just trying to think about how that would work.
Yes. So Kickstarter campaigns, once they're finished, you'll have it turns into like a landing page where you could see the campaign, but there will be a button, and you could set that button to whatever action. You could say pre-order now, go to website. Oh, cool. Go check out our Indiegogo campaign. Because Indiegogo, you can do a pre-order feature. It's their in-demand, which they'll let you continue pre-orders even after your campaign ends. So that's pretty cool.
Have you seen anybody using the launch platform inside of Amazon to run one of these campaigns similar to like a Kickstarter, where they're basically doing a pre-order? I've seen one happen recently. You haven't seen that?
No, not. I mean, I'm sure people are doing it. I just haven't I haven't had any experience with that.
Yeah, I've seen that there was actually a couple of popular games that were being created, and during that process, they were like, our scheduled launch date is like, let's just say, I don't know, November 1st or something, and it was like 2 months before it was going to go, and then they started collecting a whole bunch of pre-orders, and then once the product was made and shipped in, everybody would get their thing. But it was pretty interesting too. I'm not sure how that how that works out. But I just thought I'd ask you because I didn't know if you had any experience with that. But with those two platforms, Indiegogo and Kickstarter, like which one, do you have a favorite that you like better than the other?
So I'm platform agnostic. I love both of them.
Okay.
But the difference is that Kickstarter has the bigger audience and they're the Kleenex brand of the industry. So everyone knows what Kickstarter is, not so much Indiegogo. Personally, I love dealing with Indiegogo because they will get their hands dirty with strategy and get you on the phone to help whenever possible. And it is nearly impossible to get somebody on the phone with Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
So
that's pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's yeah.
But if I was to say to you, I'm like, all right, Khierstyn, like, you know what? I've got a really cool idea for a product and I want to go ahead and I want to get some funding for it to see if it's even going to fly. Like, so the way that I'm imagining, and would this be a good strategy or not? If I said, you know what, I've got this really cool idea, and I did some research on it. I can get it made. It's going to cost. I might even have a prototype, and it's going to cost me. You know, I gotta order at least 10,000 units of this thing in order to have it made for the price that I can get it done for. But I don't want to do it unless I get paid. So I want to throw this up there, let people see the prototype, have a video about it, explain it and all that stuff. And then I throw it up there. And then from there, if I was to do that, which platform would you say is the best? And would that be a good strategy to basically do it that way versus, you know, maybe another way that you could think of for like a brand new product that we might want to roll out?
Cool. I love crowdfunding wise is fantastic just because what you get is this massive community of people, and assuming you have a winning product that is going to get sales on that platform, you are going to get a lot of visibility and a lot of sales from the crowdfunding community. So I love the platform for that reason, if you could rank. In terms of which platform to go with, if you were to work with someone like me, I have connections at Indiegogo, and if I think it's a winning product, I'm going to bring it to them, and that's going to help us be known by that team to get extra visibility, press contacts, you name it.
Okay.
If you're not working with a strategist and you don't know anyone, you're neutral. If it's tech or something truly different, I would go Kickstarter because that's where the majority of the audience is.
Okay. All right. And so if I came to you and I'm like, Khierstyn, I'm like, I got this really cool idea. I know the market's huge. I've done some surveying. They've actually told me what they want. This is what I'm going to build. What's like kind of like the first step that you would say, all right, Scott, this is the first thing that you need to tell me or let me know. And then we can kind of move through those steps. So maybe you can kind of walk us through that, maybe through this example, almost like pretend like we're not even doing this recording like right now. Like what do I do next, Khierstyn? Like I've got this cool product. I know the market's a raving fan base. Maybe it's, and the one that I'm thinking of, it's a raving fan base of probably 15-year-olds to about 30-year-olds. I'd say it's in that range of people. You know, that, and so I don't know if some of them might be on Kickstarter. Does it matter? How do we get awareness? Like what would be those first steps?
Yeah. So the first step is assuming it's validated now, so that's out of the question. The second thing is we need to start building audience, but we need to identify what that audience is first. So first thing I would do is I would ask you to describe your customer avatar. So really describe who your customer is and different use cases. So we might have for Tap Lock, for example, it's one of the campaigns I was on. It's a padlock that opens with your unique fingerprint. Okay. And we had a really wide demographic of people who would use this. We had high school kids who would use it for their lockers at school. Right. We would have guys like us or people like us, I'm not a guy, but who will use it at the gym in their lockers. Right. You might have the motorcyclists or the moms that want to use it for their garden shed. Like it was all over the place. Okay. So we want to narrow down the top 2 or 3 use cases that we believe people are most likely going to use the product in, and then see what kind of person that is, and like what description, what's their story, what is their motivation and pain point as to why your product is going to help them and why they would pay for it. Okay. So I'd want to look at that first, because what we can do from that information is then take the assumptions and go test it through interests on Facebook.
Oh, okay. So, okay. And that was going to be my next question is like, so how do we test and kind of validate the audience? And you just kind of answered it. We can kind of run some Facebook ads to certain things to see what the response is.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. And so even going back to that, like, okay, so let's say that I'm not even as far as I just said I was. And I said, I got this really cool idea for this product and I think people are going to like it, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So at that point, what is your recommendations there for someone that says, because I get a lot of people that say, I've got this great idea for a product. And I'm always the one that's like, all right, first off, you have to validate that the market actually wants it. So if you're going to start with your own brand new, like no one has this thing on Amazon yet or any other platform, that could be good, but it also could be bad because you might not even have people that want it. So what's your way of validating that a product is, or that you would recommend to someone and say, like, how would you validate that there's a market or a product, or that product is good for a market? Like, what would be your steps to doing that? Would it be running Facebook ads or doing other ads in other platforms? Like, what would it be?
I like validating first before we spend any money. So I get this conversation a lot because I get products pitched to me for launches, and sometimes I don't understand the product. Like I'm taking on I have 2 projects right now for kids related things, be it a toy or something that helps with potty training. And I don't have a kid, so I don't understand the market. So what I do is I grill the client on what kind of research have you done? What other solutions are currently out there? Mm-hmm. How do you know yours is truly different? And if they can't answer those questions, I ask them to go out and start speaking to people. Mm. So I'll say, you need to first create the avatar and then find those people in your network and sit down with them and talk to them about the current issues they're experiencing in whatever thing, like be it potty training or be it washing hair or whatever solution that your product is aiming, because that's what you need is you need those conversations with people to make sure the pain point is big enough that they're going to pay for it.
I got you.
So that's what I would do.
Okay, cool. And the other thing, because we have a lot of people too that what they'll do, and I think this is a good idea, but maybe it's not. You can let me know for this type of project. I know for launching products on Amazon and e-commerce it is, but now that Amazon puts all of the reviews up from people, they're real legitimate reviews. I know there's a guy out there that has, he's called the Whisperer on Amazon basically because, he paid a full team to dig through reviews of products that were popular and they were selling, but they had problems. So he would read through, or he'd have his team read through all of the problems and then fix those problems in a new product that would be similar to that product, but better. And then he would launch that product, or the company would launch that product. And they've done millions of dollars using just that strategy alone. So my question is, would you, so you're saying like that would be because you're validating that these products are actually selling because we're looking at the sales numbers, but then we're not making the same product. We're making a better product, or maybe we're putting a spin on it and adding another product that could actually work with the other product or something like that. So we validated it because the sales numbers are there in Amazon, and then the reviews from real people are sitting there. So we aren't guessing. We know what they're saying they do like and they don't like. You think that's a good strategy for even? I love
that strategy. Yeah. Cause it's taking a step further and like going into forums and seeing what kind of conversations people are having around this specific pain point.
Yeah.
Is another I love that.
Yeah, it's funny. I just actually last night we did a workshop with a good friend of mine, Chris Guthrie, who created a software called AmaSuite, and inside of that there's 5 different modules of what it does. But one of the things it does is it'll take any listing that you want to take and scan all of the reviews, and it'll start to sort them like common said things together, like in three words or 4 words or 5 words, and then this way here you can see common phrases of what people are saying, like it hurt my hand. Like if that's said like a whole bunch of times and you're selling a garlic press, you might see that garlic press was, the handle was not made properly and people were all complaining about that. So again, it's a way to speed up that process and kind of dig through thousands of reviews, because some products have thousands of reviews. So I love that strategy too, but the thing is it does take time. But like you're saying, if you really want to figure out what the market wants and what it needs, you can already see the sales. We aren't even guessing if it's going to sell. We know people are already buying a similar product or in that space. So and then you start to understand your market. Because also I've done that too. I've had products that I'm like, oh, I know the market, and then all of a sudden you start getting reviews on it. And you're like, oh, they bought it and they're a mom, and I thought I was selling to just a dad or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, no, they're using it for.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? So you totally get to learn the market. which is kind of cool. So, all right, cool. So validation, I think, is big. And then when you get to that point, you're like, okay, cool, I got the winning product. And you're saying that we got to build up some type of awareness, some type of audience. Would you say building up that audience in the beginning, do you say, like, what's like the top strategy to build that audience? Like, would you say, like, if you're going to tell me, like, Scott, you know, we're going to go out and start, you know, making this, you know, known or getting interest in this thing before we even go live?
Yeah. So now that you know your interest or whatever, what I would do is I'd throw up a landing page and drive some Facebook traffic to it. Don't spend all your ad budget on this, but you want to spend at least 2 to 3 weeks testing to see who resonates the most with what you're doing. And so you're optimizing that. And then what you want to do about 3 weeks before launch, but 2 or 3 weeks, is like, this is what we did with Jamstack, is we had $5,000 and we pumped it into a pre-launch Facebook ad campaign.
Okay.
So what we had was, we were like, hey, Jamstack launching soon. Click here to secure your 30% off when we launch.
Okay.
Something super simple. And we created an email list from about 3,000 people that were ramped up and really anxious to buy this to go live on the first day. So that's the most effective strategy I've seen, is just paid advertising to build up an email list big enough that's going to convert to help get you. Because ideally you want to raise about 30% of your goal in that first day. But if you're going for big numbers, like the $1 million plus campaigns, you need to raise a lot of money on that first day. And that comes from audience. So
Yeah. No, totally. Okay, cool. And then the other thing cool is too, and for anyone, you know, listening, even just with like that Facebook, you know, ad that you're running there. And I love it that you said a 30% off coupon, because we always talk about that. Like, even for us, like if we're launching a brand new product, even in a new market, or even just in our existing market, to go out and just start running Facebook ads to a discount of that when it goes live, you get it. And then you have it. I mean, that to me is like, that's just a win-win, because you're building up that audience of people that raised their hand and said, yeah, I'd like to buy this for 30% off. So, and then the other cool thing is with that, is being able to take that and then create a retargeting campaign inside of Facebook, and also a lookalike audience, which I think would be probably pretty cool as well. Yeah.
The one thing to note about that is, if you want to do retargeting and you have a very great strategist behind it, so a Facebook strategist, Indiegogo will let you retarget, but Kickstarter doesn't allow you to put a pixel on your page just yet. There's this, I could probably send you a link to it, but the founder of Northaware, which is Canada's largest Kickstarter campaign to date, he wrote an article in QZ.com or QZ.com on this one hack to help you be able to retarget Kickstarter campaigns.
Oh, okay.
I can send that to you. It's pretty technical, but it's kind of a workaround that you can do for it.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Send that over, and we'll just link that up in the show notes. And then if anybody wants if anyone wants to dig into that, we can have them do that. But I think, I mean, you know, I guess what I'm saying is okay, for the traffic you get on Kickstarter, you can't really retarget that like easily. But if you're building that pre-launch list and you're driving people to your own landing page, you can. Are you saying that you would set up, is there a landing page that you would set up inside a Kickstarter before you launch? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying that you would do it to your own, like if it's a lead page, a ClickFunnels page, whatever, as far as that landing page goes?
I would start with lead pages or ClickFunnels. And then once you go live, you just direct all traffic from landing page to Kickstarter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I'm sure that there's some, I guess there's some being crafty or being skilled at creating a well-designed Kickstarter page or Indiegogo page as well. And I'm sure there's probably people out there that have already created a profession around building that for people. Am I correct?
You're correct. It's just hard to find, because right now the people who specialize on Kickstarter or anything are very, it's just not a niche that a ton of people are in right now.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Because I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of like you're building a sales page, but in the same breath, there's probably some nuances there that aren't the same that you'd have to know. And I guess you could just model some pages that have had good campaigns and kind of see
that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Like, the way that I like to look at the page, if you want that to optimize, is you put a lot of like time and money, effort into your video, and then your sales page is going to be an extension of that video.
Gotcha. Okay. 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 So yeah, because I think that the video in itself, it's kind of like you have a hybrid page there. You have the video, and then in the sales page, people that want to read or don't have time to watch the video, they can also see everything that you're mentioning inside the video, inside of there. Inside of the actual page, or actually the campaign, when people are pledging, are you able to access those email addresses at any time?
On Indiegogo, you can access the emails anytime. Kickstarter, you do have to wait until your campaign finishes to get those.
Okay, but you will get them once it.
You're right.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
You will.
So again, I mean, you're building a list, a targeted list, a majorly targeted list, because these are people that pledged, and so then you could also take that and use that in the future, whether you want to. Because I've said to people too, I've said, even if you were going to do this, I would still take that list, and then when maybe you launch another product or maybe an update to this product or something, you could always retarget those people or email those people and let them know, hey, we just launched on Amazon, go buy it. And then they go buy it on Amazon, and that spikes our algorithm in Amazon, and then we rank better. And
exactly.
All that stuff. So there's a lot of cool things you could do there with that list of people that have already pledged, which is pretty cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, what am I missing? Like, so what else should I need to know about? And I guess the question that I know that I'm going to probably receive, and I probably should try to think about this a little bit more, is like, is this right for everyone to launch a Kickstarter campaign, or like, or an Indiegogo, or just any type of a crowdfunding? Is it right for everyone to do? Like, if you just want to raise some money because you just want to launch like a similar garlic press as your competitor, like, is this the right thing to do, or should you just, it's only for like more products that are more original or that have, a unique spin on it? Like, what is the criteria there?
Yeah, I love that question. I believe that's not everyone should crowdfund. Crowdfunding is amazing for physical products, so I'm just going to stick to that. Physical products, I find that you need to have something. You do not want to be launching a Me Too product. In saying that, though, if you have a garlic press that is truly different to what is being done already, and you have a great story and it's positioned great, then launch the garlic press on Kickstarter. But if it's just another China knockoff, there's nothing special about it, and it won't stand out above the other really cool things on Kickstarter. So that's the thing.
That makes
sense. I get a lot of people that think, okay, well, I can't do Kickstarter because my idea's already been done before. That doesn't matter. I feel like, the Bobax travel jacket that raised 15 million plus for like these 15 different pocket features. Bobax was not an original idea. There are so many travel jackets like Scotty Vest that may cater to a different demographic. So Scotty Vest was never a Kickstarter campaign, but they catered to the older business traveler demographic, where Bobax took the same idea, developed something awesome, but marketed it to backpackers, travelers, entrepreneurs, and was still successful.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so they just repositioned it, maybe added some features that would benefit that demographic or that type of person, and then they coined it as kind of like this is specifically designed for the mountain climber. You know what I mean? Or
you
whatever.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that. The other question I know I get from a lot of people is, I don't want to really do the crowdfunding because I'm putting my idea out there and people are going to rip me off. They're going to launch my product before I do.
Yeah, I think that's a legitimate concern. However, my philosophy is that if your product is good enough to rip off, you better launch. Because someone is going to rip you off now or later, and you might as well be first to market.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other thing I would ask is, okay, at this point in time, do you already go and register like trademark and do you do patent? When does that stuff happen? Do you wait on that stuff until you know that it's going to work? That could run up some, that could run the tab up too, right? And you're kind of like putting all this money and these resources into this thing that might not ever fly.
I don't know what it is in the US, but here we can do patent pending. So it's like the preliminary, you file it, so you hold on to the idea, and then you have 18 months to secure a full patent. So whatever the equivalent to that is in the US, I'd recommend that if your thing is truly awesome, that you start the proceedings, but don't get a full patent until you know that your business has legs.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And that is, I believe that's, I mean, I always see patent pending here too, but I'm just wondering on that process, but I'm sure that there's something there, like you said, that you can be in the stages of it, but then you're not finalized until you finalize it.
Exactly.
Which is also going to probably go through more steps to, making sure that it's going to be patentable and all that stuff. So, okay, cool. Cause I know a lot of people say, I don't want the exposure getting out there because everybody's going to come and rip me off. And I think that's a legitimate, I guess, concern. But I also think that, people can rip us off. I mean, there's people ripping off, tons of products, you know what I mean? Like it's going to happen no matter what, as soon as you put it out there. But once you get going, if you have something in place, then you're going to be able to fend them off. And you're also going to be able to, have an attorney or something that's going to have to follow through on some of that stuff eventually. And, and then deal with it at that time. But I wouldn't let that stop me.
Yeah.
That's me personally.
Same here. Same here.
So, all right, this has been awesome. Is there anything that I'm leaving out or that we should discuss that we haven't discussed? I mean, we kind of dug into some real examples and stuff, which I kind of wanted to do because I think it's easier to kind of see how it goes. Is there anything else that you'd want to let me know or anyone else know that's listening about, crowdfunding or creating a Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to add?
I have two things. The first one is don't look at crowdfunding as a one-time event. Crowdfunding can be an amazing way for you to build a brand online, and then you take it to Amazon and create a full business from it. So it is something to be taken seriously. Second thing is that the crowdfunding industry right now is having a lot of problems with backers creators not fulfilling on time because they run into so many manufacturing things that first-time project creators that have no experience with supply chain management, they get into, and then the product gets delayed 12 months or more. So I personally will not work with anyone that is looking to crowdfund for an idea. You need to prove that you have something. And so I would suggest that you wait to crowdfund until you have proof of concept prototype, or you at least have a very good idea of the understanding of the manufacturing process so that you don't get bombarded with problems after your campaign.
No, I think that's a smart idea. Like you said, I mean, at least you want the product basically created in a sense, but just maybe waiting to be finalized. And then that you can deliver on that promise. Because that's not just going to give you a bad name. It's going to give your brand a bad name. It's also going to give whatever crowdfunding source that you used a bad name. So I'm sure that they don't want that either. That's definitely a good point. And you said you had two things. What was the other thing?
Oh, that was two. One, treat it like a business, and two, don't.
Okay.
Yeah, crowdfund when you have a prototype.
Okay, cool. All right, well, this has been awesome. I didn't really know where we were going to go with this when we decided to do it, but I knew I had a lot of questions, and I knew that you were the one to ask these questions too. So this has been really helpful. I'm sure there's going to be probably a lot of questions that are going to come in after this airs. So maybe we'll have to have you come back on, and maybe we can address some of those questions.
I love that, yeah.
And then that way there we can kind of stay on top of this, because this is definitely something that I've been thinking about, just again, a little bit down the road, as far as like whether it's a brand I partner with or one that I want to start. I just want to understand that process. And I think that now that we've kind of talked about it, I do understand it a lot better. And I appreciate you taking the time. You want to just let people know how they can get in touch with you, and if they have any questions, how they can reach out to you. You can go ahead and let them know that now. Yeah, definitely. The best thing to do is email me. It's the letter K at crowdfundinguncut.com. Okay, cool. And also, if you are in the middle of if you're like, okay, I want to see what goes into a crowdfunding campaign, I've actually made a physical product launch checklist available on my website too, crowdfundinguncut.com. So you can just pick that up and see if crowdfunding is something you love or hate. Okay, cool. And I'm going to link that up in the show notes so everyone can head over to the show notes page. Definitely do that and grab it. I think that's great, a checklist to actually see exactly what you would need going through this entire process. I think that's very helpful. So again, Khierstyn, I want to say thank you so much. This has been awesome. I really do appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure that we're going to have you come back on and do an update. So I just, again, want to say thank you for taking your time. This has been absolutely amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun too.
Yeah, this is awesome. So keep me posted, all right?
I will. Thanks. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so there you have it, a deep dive into the crowdfunding world with Khierstyn Ross, and that was awesome. I mean, there was things that I learned through that process. There's also things, if you could tell, I was actually trying to explain to her how I thought that it worked, and then she would say yes or no, and I have to say, I think I kind of understand how it works. She was being like, yeah, that's exactly it. And it was like, cool, because again, that's the way that I can validate that I'm understanding the process. And hopefully you guys were able to understand that process as well. Also, again, it's a really, really powerful idea to get your product out there before you even sell it, to have it manufactured. But, and there's a big but here, like she said, you're going to need a prototype. You're going to need to already have some targeting done where you're going to have your audience already kind of, not maybe built, but you have it targeted, so then you can go out and start driving Facebook ads and stuff to really bring the awareness, because it is going to come down to the awareness of this product and then also how it resonates with that audience. So I definitely learned a ton. I don't think I'm ready yet for a crowdfunding campaign. I don't have anything right now that I would do that with, but that does not mean that I won't in the future. And that's why I like to do these things, because I've just educated myself and hopefully educated a bunch of you guys, and you kind of understand how that process works. So if you want more information about this, definitely reach out to Khierstyn and ask some questions. She's so willing to give. So definitely do that. All the links that we mentioned here will be inside of the show notes page at theamazingseller.com/327. Again, that's theamazingseller.com/327. Again, there was a ton of golden nuggets there, and you're probably going to want to download the transcripts and the show notes. So definitely head over there. And then anyone that went through this entire episode, hung on there, and you're brand new and you're saying, wow, that sounds awesome, but you know what? I haven't even started yet and I just want to get started. Well, then I'm going to remind you guys about our live workshops. Definitely go register for one of those, because that will get you started. It'll get you moving in the right direction, and it'll give you those action steps to do right now. So head over to theamazingseller.com/workshop and you can register for an upcoming workshop there. All right, guys, that's it. That's going to wrap up this episode. Remember, I'm here for you. I believe in you, and I am rooting for you. But you have to. Come on, say it with me. Say it loud. Say it proud. Take action. Have an awesome, amazing day, and I'll see you guys right back here on the next episode.